What is going on, guys? This is Daniel, and the Rockets have a great offense because of their excellent personnel. But what also helps them is the little things, how they attack certain coverages, for instance. And in today's video, I'll be talking about how the Rockets attack the hard hedge pick and roll coverage. They utilize concepts to counter the hedge and have great success against it. So, let's get right to it. The Rockets see the hard hedge when one of their pick and pop forwards sets a ball screen for Harden or Chris Paul. And here's an instance where the defense doesn't hard hedge. You see Anderson sets the ball screen and Jang is in a drop, and this allows Anderson to pick and pop for an open three. Another option the defense has is to switch, and you see this all the time. And while it does contain the action, now Harden, instead of having Danny Green on him, has Davis Bertans, a much more favorable matchup, and Harden blows by Bertans and drives and kicks. And that leads us to the hard hedge. So here against the Blazers, you see Ariza comes in ball screens, and Lillard will hard hedge out. And now Ariza makes a correct read. Instead of popping for a three, he nicely rolls into the open area. Harden finds him on the short roll, and sometimes it's just that easy when no help steps up. The other point I want to make about this play is that it's Ariza who's screening for Harden because he's being guarded by Lillard. Houston is picking on Lillard as a weak defender Harden can attack. They often do this, and because of that, they will see the hedge a lot, which is why it's important that they are excellent at attacking it. Now, normally, Ariza won't be able to simply screen and roll like that for a layup. So now let's talk about some of the concepts the Rockets utilize. And here, you see Lillard does a nice job of hedging out, and the Blazers contain the initial ball screen. So the next option is a simple rescreen, where Ariza goes to ball screen Harden again, and this time you see Lillard does not do a good job of hedging out, and Harden is able to turn the corner and find Capela. The rescreen works because there is a thin margin for error when hedging. It's not an easy thing to do. So doing it 2 times in a row can be quite difficult, and again here on the rescreen, it's Jang who does not hedge out as much as he needs to. This allows Paul to get into the lane, and he finds Gordon for a corner 3. One more example of the rescreen being effective, and here it's Wiggins guarding the ball who makes the error. He's anticipating the rescreen a bit too much, which allows Harden to beat him away from the screen, which is not good for the defense. On this play, there is a rescreen, but the point I want to make about this play is the slip. So on the second screen, Ba Mute doesn't actually set the screen, but instead slips to the basket as his defender is hedging out. This allows him to slip into an open area and catch it and score. As we watch this play again, I also want to mention how sometimes the Rockets will set this ball screen near half court, quite high. And what this does is, now on the short roll, there is space to get it to Ba Mute before there are help defenders to deflect the pass, which is what we see here. Here's another slip on a rescreen, and you can see that right as Bjelica is hedging out, that's when Ariza slips to the basket. And also, you'll see the slip a bunch on a rescreen because now Ariza knows exactly what the defense is doing and can adjust with a slip. Moving on to another concept, which is changing the angle of the screen. And we see that with Ryan Anderson here. He's about to set the ball screen, and Towns is ready to hedge on that side. But at the last moment, he shifts the angle of his screen to the other side, and now Towns is in no position to hedge, and that allows Harden a straight line drive to the basket, and he's fouled. This time, watch in slow motion as Anderson changes the angle of his screen. Anderson does this again here, but this is actually good defense by Gibson to still execute a solid hedge, and on the pop, still get a hand up on Anderson. What Ariza likes to do is he'll come and screen from the middle, which makes it ambiguous at this point what side he's screening toward. This puts a ton of pressure on Bjelica as he doesn't know what side he's going to hedge on. Ariza decides to pop, which is his choice, and he gets fouled on the drive. Again, Ariza comes from the middle and he doesn't show what side he's screening toward until the very end. And the effect here is that Lillard doesn't execute a proper hedge, he sort of just faces the ball, and on this play, Ariza pops for an open 3. Another concept is screening the ball screener, so on this play Tucker will screen for Ariza before he ball screens for Harden. This puts a ton of pressure on Bjelica as he has to fight through a screen and then hedge, and not surprisingly, his hedge is inadequate, not getting out enough, and Harden turns the corner and throws an oop for Capela. As we watch this play again, the other point I want to mention is how Ariza really sprints into the ball screen, which makes it tough for Bjelica. So in review, they'll attack the hard hedge by rescreening to cause defensive mistakes by slipping the screen, setting the screen high, changing the angle of the screen, coming to screen in the middle of the court, screening the ball screener, and sprinting into the screen. All of these are used to make that hedge tougher. Now let's get to some bonus content, and on the topic of screening, let's talk about Capela expertly sometimes not screening. So this is what I mean. In the pick and roll here, Wiggins is anticipating the ball screen heavily. He looks to fight over the screen, and by doing this, he gets a bit out of position if there wasn't a screen. Capela nicely recognizes this, and so he doesn't actually set a screen, he rolls right away. And he guesses correctly as Harden is able to beat Wiggins and go downhill, and now Capela is out in front of Harden, and this makes Towns' position as the drop guy an impossible defensive assignment as he must guard both, and he gives up the oop to Capela. I won't stop the clip here, and watch how Capela doesn't actually set the screen when he senses Harden can beat his man by himself. This is most effective in a set like this, where there is a screen for Harden before he comes to get the handoff, which is what you see here, as Harden comes to get the handoff on top. Anderson screens Danny Green, and when he makes good contact, now Green is trailing the play. So you see there is really no need for Capela to set a real ball screen, so he simply rolls and Harden gets the floater. The Rockets absolutely kill teams on sets like this. This non-screening tactic is most effective with athletic bigs who can get out in front and catch oops, and Andre Drummond for Detroit is also very good at this, knowing when not to screen. Most of the time, Capela of course will actually have to set a real screen, especially against good on-ball defenders such as Danny Green, and this time he does set a real screen, but he's still able to roll with Paul, and here he gets it on the roll and dunks. Well, there you have it guys. Look for some of this stuff the next time you watch the Rockets, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.